Good evening. I'm Deborah Giles, your host of I Too Have a Voice. Today's topic, although focuses on a issue regarding women, the overall concept pertains to all of us. Women, we should encourage one another and not put each other down. There are a couple of heartfelt parables in the Bible that are very dear to me, and those parables are about Sarah, who gave birth to Isaac at the age of 90, Hannah, who prayed fervently for Samuel, and Elizabeth, who had John the Baptist in her old age. When I hear those parables, I am just overcome with emotions. It's very difficult to read and not be overcome with those emotions when I hear them. And you may ask why. Because I've always had the strong desire to have biological children or give birth, but that never came to fruition. This past Mother's Day, my heart was flooded with emotions as the pastor explained the beauty and yet the challenges of giving life to a child. When I say the message was so profound, it brought a whole new set of emotions for me, but it was so uniquely described that I had such a greater level of respect for my mother, for what she did and what she went through in order to give birth to me and my siblings. But it was also very difficult, and it brought tears to my eyes because I would never experience that, and I missed out on that. Giving birth, although there were those challenges in your body changing, um, I'll never experience that in life. You may ask why this topic. Well, I had an encounter where a woman in the room, a room of both men and women, spoke that she was more qualified for something because she was a biological mother. That comment brought a lot of emotions for me, as I do not have any biological children. I'm not sure what it brought to the other women in the room, but it was a lesson for me on how important it is to think before you speak and be mindful of those who you are speaking to, as you never know their story. While the comment may not have been directed intentionally at any particular person in the room, as if the woman who made the comment was more qualified or better because she gave birth to children, the woman did not know the story of me or the other women in the room, and even the men. She did not know if the women in the room were unable to conceive children. She did not know whether the woman or the women in the room had lost children by miscarriage or childbirth, or lost children after giving birth, or she didn't know whether women in the room had conceived a child as a result of an assault. Why is that so important? It's important because while we all have a voice, it is important that our voices be heard, but our voices should not be used to intentionally hurt others or make others feel less than because they have not accomplished what you've accomplished. For me, no, I'm not a biological mother, but I had a joy in my life some years ago where I was able to be the legal guardian of a young man who had a traumatic brain injury. And please don't think that I'm comparing this to giving birth to a child. It's an experience I had that brought me to what was the closest thing that I'd come, in a sense, to being a mother. Unfortunately, the thing about this young man that he was not able to communicate verbally, but he and I learned how to communicate with each other. There were those difficult days, though, that I became so frustrated, not at him, but because of the system that I had to maneuver through with his health care, with his education, and just trying to get him services so that he could live a productive life. And I felt I was limited even in my abilities. So that's where the frustration lied, because I wanted to give him so much more. I wanted to give him the world and allow him to experience what I learned he had missed out on in that short period of his life. The fact that I was his legal guardian never made me think he was not my biological child. We would have meals together, we would laugh together, we would go places together, we would go just to church, to the park, just enjoying each other's company. He would laugh and I would laugh. He would smile and I would smile, and be able to connect with each other as I feel like children do with their parents. I celebrated his birthdays and his graduation and any accomplishment in only the way or the style that I knew how, being over the top. I loved him nonetheless. The conversation that the young lady had was especially heartfelt because there are so many people who struggle with mental illness as a result of trauma or grief. And as I reflect on that day, I'm mindful that those words may have caused someone some pain or triggered some emotions connected to their past experiences, or even set back progress that they had worked so hard to achieve in their healing journey. For that reason, I remain committed to being thoughtful in my words and sensitive to the experiences of others. So, in speaking what you may think is your own truth, you must approach it with greater care, understanding, and empathy, especially when you're in the room and you don't know your participants in the room, nor do you know their story. There are some mothers who are unable to conceive, lost a child, but they too have a voice. Not having a biological children or biological child doesn't make you less than a woman, but what it does, it opens the door for you to be a mother or mother figure to other children who have either lost their mother or their mother is unable to provide or even to support them. For mothers who have biological children, you too have a voice. Embrace those of us who do not have children, as we will make the space, create the space to support you. Be the voice of the world that motherhood is beautiful and it's challenging all at the same time. You have the space to pour into your own children as your heart desires, while those of us who do not have children have your back in pouring into those in the community and giving them love and nurturing them as if they were our own. Your voice is powerful. It can plant a seed, it can spread love, it can provide joy, it can be a lifter of your soul. But that voice can also be destructive. Never let that voice, intentionally or unintentionally, hurt another or suppress their voice, or even make them feel as if they're less than because they are not you. Tonight, I encourage each of you to be cautious and caring and careful with speaking your truth. For there are those unintended consequences that we can be held accountable for. Until next time, I am Deborah Giles, and I too have a voice.
I too have a voice. I too have a voice. Let it rise.